question is the weekend for the class for the white light
Uh-huh.
that
Uh-huh.
put me into a tailspin,
Okay.
and I'm still working myself out of it. Um,
Certain emotions come up, or you just feel weird, or like what's going on?
oh, all of the above. One of the first things that happened was the day after Monday
Mm-hmm.
is all the different injury spots that had
Mm-hmm.
gone away through working with the oils and whatever
Mm-hmm.
suddenly were screaming at me.
Hmm.
So, like old injuries, like I've torn muscles in my left calf,
Mm-hmm.
that like the tightness of like when I had the injury was back for a couple of
Okay.
days. And then there were other spots, and then I started having problems with my shoulder. And I know that's from tension, and I that could just be
Yeah.
as reaction of the tension
Yeah.
from being so thrown out of the of of sorts. But then I uh I felt very destabilized. I got through worked through that by Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
but then my so going into the class,
Mm-hmm.
my aura of gold light had been pretty big, and then it just is really diminished. And so I'm working through kind of how I got to that spot, but I'm really tentative about all the classes now.
Sure.
I I
So tell me about your breath. Like, tell me about your breath. Are you breathing real shallow, real rapid? You notice your breath is a little bit off or like irregular?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm also in a very um I'm in a temporary staying in a place right now that's probably not the best place for me emotionally, and
Mhm.
I'll be leaving it tomorrow, so that's been a challenge because I'm
How's the anxiety?
ruminating.
How's anxiety levels? Let's do it that way. You having a
Uh,
little bit of anxiety,
well,
tension?
getting on this call
Uh-huh.
was as I sat here waiting for the Zoom to start, I found my anxiety just really rising.
Yeah, I think your breath is off. Like I mean, there's different things that can cause issues in the body, right? And so it's like sometimes what can throw off like the nervous system and starting to feel, like you said, like out of balance and things, is if the breath is off, it starts to affect how the nerves like flow to and from like the spinal cord to the brain, the cranial nerves. They refer to it as afferent efferent like movement. And so it just means to and like to the area and from the area, right? And so when the breath is off, it can throw the nervous system out. So you would have like what you were talking about, where you're having issues with some of like old injuries and things. Like it basically kind of agitates the nervous system. And then the other byproduct of the breath being off is starting to have like a bit of anxiety, and then you'll notice that the mind, sometimes people refer to it as stress, but you'll notice that the mind is like a bit more reactive rather than able to like kind of process things. And all it means is that the nervous system is off. It actually has nothing to do with the mind itself or the mental body. It's just actually neurological function. And so when you're doing like deeper spiritual practices or even like psychological healing, and in some cases even physical healing, kind of one of the keys is being able to like temper the nervous system, like calm down different aspects of the nervous system, because they'll get agitated with like shifts, changes, healing processes, whatever it might be. And so with that, let's have you do this. We don't even need to use an oil right now, but let's just do it's that pursed lip breathing. I'll guide everybody through it, but it is a good time to do like a little revisit of it. And it's always kind of a good thing to do from time to time. I mean, even when I don't have issues, I still do this from time to time just because it's so good for deepening the breath and regulating the breath, loosening the diaphragm and the bronchioles. And then it has a calming effect on the body. And so just to revisit this, like you take a long, slow, deep breath in, and then you exhale and you try to go slower than your inhalation. And this is really more of a way to measure like how contracted the bronchioles and the diaphragm are, right? And so like if you go, okay, inhale slowly, and then you exhale and you try to go even slower, if everything's fine, it's you're able to go longer and it's real smooth, right? But if the bronchioles are in spasm, you'll inhale really slow, and then you go, okay, now exhale slowly, you'll go like, and then it's just done, right? It's because it's so much in spasm that the ability to control the exhalation is diminished, right? Or you'll go like, to be like really, it might be slow, but it'll be really chaotic, right? And so the goal is to inhale through your nose, and then you make your lips real tight, except for like a little hole, like you're trying to play a horn or some wind instrument, and you're forcing the air through the little tiny hole. So you're trying to make it as hard as possible to get air out of the mouth. By doing this, you're manually opening up the bronchioles. You're taking them out of spasm. So it's long, slow, deep breath, and then hold your breath for a second, and then inhale again. And then again. And then give it a second. Just let your breath regulate for a second. And then inhale again and do the same thing again. Pursed lip breathing, really force it out. And then again, inhale. And then again, force it out. And then one more time. Inhale. And then exhale. And then just be still for a second. Keep your eyes closed. Now, at this point, if you want to augment and use like a little hyssop or larch or pulmonary stress support, or, something that's just going to deepen the breath, slow down the breath, take out some spasms, Sitka, frankincense, myrtle, bronchioles blend, anything like that. You can just kind of long, slow, deep breaths, and then just let it relax. How did that make you feel, Deborah?
Much calmer.
Yeah, I think it's just your breath, to be honest with you. Like, if you calm that down, your nervous system will start calming down, and then the body starts feeling better. Like almost every time I do that, I can feel body tension leaving my body. Yeah.
So, with all the cycling I do, the breath work is really easy,
Mhm.
but it did have the calming effect. So, is this something that you recommend that I whenever I'm feeling out of sorts that I go
I
to.
would, I mean, you could do it when you feel out of sorts, but I would actually do it on a daily basis. I
Okay,
mean, for one, it make your body feel better. It will deepen the breath. It's very clearing to the mind, but also it will probably help your performance on your bike. You know, the thing is like, especially with endurance riding, the more you can get down into the lower abdominal breathing, it really can increase your endurance and diminish the production of lactic acid in the body. And it just, you'll snap back faster, you won't have as much fatigue, you know, you'll you know, in cycling, I don't know if they still use this term, but like, you know, you're pushing and then all of a sudden you kind of hit the wall, like was the old term that they would use. Like, you know, you kind of go in oxygen dead and you know, you just lose the jam in your legs there for a little bit. It would make it harder and longer for you to get there by doing this breath on a regular basis.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
I'm actually more excited about the psychological piece of it.
Yeah.
But it'll be nice to see the results in my bike
Yeah.
too. Thank you so much.
You know that back in the 80s, they were playing with the abdominal breathing, like the climbers, you know, the little spidery guys that were really good climbers. They would, you know, as you inhale, like the abdomen goes out a little bit. And so what they would do is like every 2 or 3 inhalations, they would do an inhalation till the maximum amount, and then they would hold their breath for a couple of seconds, and then they'd try to do more, and then they compress it. And so I don't even know whatever happened to that, but there was a few guys playing with it. But the breath is really important for that sport.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're so welcome.